I'm going to go over how to make a pillow using something called NCloth. NCloth is a cloth simulation that Maya has. It is actually quite good. It can be a little bit tricky to get working normally, but what we're doing is a very simple process. I'm going to start with a cube. I'm going to give it 10 subdivisions on the width, height, and depth, and I will scale it to be roughly the size of the pillow that I want. It's very important you delete your history and freeze your transformations. On the top left where it says modeling, I'm going to switch that to FX. And we now have a new menu on the top called NCloth. I'm going to come down and go to create NCloth with the cube selected. We now have a nucleus in NCloth 1. I'm not sure why my pillow just disappeared, but hopefully it will come back. And in the nucleus, I'm going to set my gravity to 0 and my gravity direction from -1 to 0. And then on the actual next tab over, we have NCloth shape. And one of the drop-down menus is called pressure. And I'm going to open it up. And pressure is set to 0. So right now, if I hit play, nothing's going to happen because there's no gravity and no wind or anything happening. If I change my pressure to a number, it is going to kind of increase the pressure on the inside of the cube. So think of it like inflating a balloon. Depending on whether you're in centimeters or meters, your number might be different. It also depends on how big you made your object. So I'm going to start with 1 for my pressure, hit play, and you can see that it inflated and it has the nice seams, but it's a little bit too inflated. So I'm going to go back to the beginning of the time frame or timeline and maybe change it to 0.125. So it's still inflated, but it's a little bit less. And I can make this work. The easiest way to get it to stay in this shape is just duplicate it and delete the NCloth nucleus and the original cube. I'm now going to rotate so it is more or less oriented correctly. I might scale it down a little bit. And then you can start beveling and doing a little bit more modeling if needed. I'm just going to round out those corners. And I kind of want to have maybe a seam with something small like that. So starting to look kind of pillow-esque. And I might bevel these corners just to round it out a little bit more. For some reason, the last time I used NCloth as well, the insert edge loop tool was kind of not working. I could not select anything that I wanted to select. So instead of making all quads, since I'm going to be going to a game engine, it'll be triangulated anyway. I'm going to poke the face of this corner, open up my target weld, and just move that center point that I just got over to the side. So there will be some triangles, but since it is going to be triangulated sooner or later, it is not really the end of the world. If you wanted to do a smooth on this, it would be a bit more of an issue because triangles do not subdivide well. But I'm going to leave it as it is. And put just a soften edge on it. If you wanted to have it look like the pillow was used a little bit more, that's where your soft selection comes in. So maybe just select a couple vertices, hit B to turn on soft select, and you can hold down B and left click and drag. And you can move it around. you'll notice that sometimes it will wrap around, sometimes it will go through the volume, and that's just depending on your soft select settings. So if you double click on the move tool and open up soft select, you'll see fall off mode is volume. If I change it to surface, it will then wrap around instead of going through. So if I wanted to make it look like there was a head being used, I can increase it. It wouldn't go to the other side, and I can just bring it down. And when you're done, make sure you hit B again to turn off soft select.